first of all, listen, it's interesting about all these young guys today. They never call on us and say, hey, thanks for the kind word and telling me how great a player I am. But when they play like crap and we call them out, we don't know what we're talking about. Listen, I'm easy to find, but I get sick of these guys complaining. These young guys, they never call us and say, when a coach is wrong, I'm going to call him out. But when players are wrong, I'm going to call them out. But listen, I'm going to criticize guys if they deserve it. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.
What's going on, YouTube? Nathan back with another video presentation. Welcome to episode 13 of Big Nick Talk Podcast. Yes, before we get into the video, there's a few things that I need to say up front that will, of course, serve as an introduction. So, episode 14 will be produced tomorrow, as it is Game 4 of the NBA Finals between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Phoenix Suns. And I'm also going to also give my feedback on the MLB All Star game. By the time I started this, it's been too late, so I'll just talk about it tomorrow. I will talk about the Home Run Derby. I got a couple guests with me that'll join me a little bit. Major League Baseball, MLB's first half of the season review. We're going to get into Stephen A. Smith, who made some very interesting comments about Shohei Ohtani. We're going to get into that. The WNBA All Star game, how it's getting very little publicity. So, Chamber, what's good? Hey, who can join the calls? It's only a certain, or can anyone join? Yeah, anyone can join. Just post a comment in the chat. You probably have this in your email, an email that you use if you want to talk basketball or anything like that. So just leave it in the chat. But yeah, we're going to get this. That's going to be the start of the show, and I'm going to bring on some special guests. We got 2/3 of Let's Talk Football, 2/4, excuse me, with Sean Spencer, Nicholas Rosario.
Hey, how we doing?
Thank you all for joining me this evening.
Thank you for having me. Always good to be had, my friend. Trust me.
You guys, we will go ahead and tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Okay, sure. I'm Nick Rosario. I like long walks on the beach, margaritas at midnight, and making love in the rain. There you go.
Hey, there you go.
And yeah, come on, me? You know who I am, right? You ain't see me around. I'm the big guy who likes to make everybody laugh and wants to smoke. There we go.
Absolutely.
That's me. Smoke.
And we already know who got down here. Double S Sean Spencer. You know, one half of the dynamic duo. Let's Talk Football with Janae Struther. I want to give a shout out to Janae Struther. Happy birthday.
Right, happy birthday, Janae.
Hope you had a great day. Yeah. Thank God, may the Lord bless you as many years to come. So, even though your Dallas Cowboys, they stink.
Oh, there it is.
I'm sorry.
Tilt her up just to knock her down. Yeah.
Wow. But we're going to get into
talk about wanting smoke.
Right? Starting early.
Starting to go. All right.
Look, hey, listen.
We're running. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
But we're going to get it. We're going to touch into Game 4 predictions for the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Phoenix Suns. There's a couple of things I do want to clarify. In last episode, I mistakenly said I guaranteed the Phoenix Suns would win.
Oh,
I guarantee the Milwaukee Bucks will win in 6.
Oh, now is that what it is? Oh,
so I could play the clip, but I said the Phoenix Suns and the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks will win in 6.
Okay.
Guaranteed.
Okay.
So, basically, again, I want to give a shout out to the DMV intellectuals. That's the group chat I'm in. Marcus, Elliot, Cam, they know who they are. And they get on me with these like coach motivation speeches. I got it. Charles was watching Inside the NBA, and Paul Westphal at the time was the head coach for the Phoenix Suns the year they went to the NBA Finals. And they were the 8th, and they played against the Los Angeles Lakers. They were the 8th seed. Westphal told them, and this is what Mike Budenholzer had to tell them after Game 2. Hey, listen, give the Phoenix Suns credit. They have won 2 great games. Devin Booker, CP3 are great players. We're going to go home to Milwaukee. We're going to win Game 3. we're going to win game 4, 5, and 6. And people are going to say what a great comeback this is. The biggest thing for the Bucks, they got to play like they played in game 3. And it starts with Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton. I cannot stress that enough. Giannis has showed up these 3 games. I don't want to hear any Giannis slander. If the Finals MVP mattered, he would get my vote. Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton, they're part of the big 3. This is where it counts. And Brooke Lopez, PJ Tucker, the defense, again, they got to play Bucks basketball. Again, they're at home. That crowd, extra confidence, extra energy, and the Phoenix Suns, they got punched in the mouth, and they need to have the P's and Q's for this game. And again, keep in mind, Dario Saric is out for the season. He's out for the season, and then DeAndre Ayton. The fouls, they got to limit the foul trouble. So there's a couple things that Phoenix has to limit. They double-digit turnovers, and we're not hitting shots, especially Devin Booker. So, Sean, I'm going to start with you. What do you think what do you think the key – who do you think is going to win game 4, and what do you think each team needs to do?
So, I honestly think at home the Bucks will take game 4. I think it will be a close game, potentially overtime. But I think the real story is going to be Devin Booker versus the supporting cast of the Milwaukee Bucks.
Okay,
and I'm talking Drew Holiday. I'm talking Middleton, but I'm also talking Portis. I'm also talking Brooke Lopez. I'm talking the bench. Okay, that's going to be huge. The other thing you touched on before, DeAndre Ayton. He had 3 fouls by the end of the first half, and he picked up his 4th early in the second half.
Yep.
With him out of the game, they had to go small, and I'm sorry. I love you, Cam Johnson, and in North Carolina. You had a great, start of the third quarter last game, but
Definitely.
You are not going to shut down Giannis. Giannis is going to back you down. He's going to call it every single time. I'm not throwing shade. I'm just being real with you. You know what I mean? So, honestly, DeAndre Ayton has got to stay out of foul trouble. They need that, and also for that pick and roll. I don't think the pick and roll was as good with as potent without DeAndre Ayton. I think that Chris Paul dribbled into the paint and then had to dribble out because there wasn't anybody right there towering where he could throw it up. So I still think Devin Booker and them are going to come back, and I think the Suns are going to come back in the next game. But I think the Bucks are going to take it next game
for sure. Nick?
Okay, here's my thing. And before I tell you who I think is going to win game 4, here's kind of my observation of things that I've seen. It was very telling, I think, the first 2 games when Phoenix won at home, obviously, they held for right now. But it's interesting that when Giannis was out before, how much more it seemed like a team that Milwaukee played. With guys everybody getting involved, Middleton, Holiday, these guys, everybody getting involved in the offense, kind of everybody playing a little defense. Giannis comes back and he's this larger-than-life guy. You've got this all-star, phenom here. And, feeding him the ball is an important thing. You need to do that. There's no question about that.
Yeah, good point.
They won't win without him. We know that. But I think it's finding that balance between we need to play as a team, but we still need to make sure that Giannis does need to take the team on his back, but he also needs to be aware that he needs his supporting guys to win these games. And I think that became obvious. And again, they played more. The last game they won by 16? It was like 120 to 104, whatever the score was.
It was 120, 100.
Okay, so you won by 20 points. Why? Yeah, Giannis had his 40, 42, whatever it was, and everybody else got involved. That's how Milwaukee's going to win this series. That being said, they're great at home. So, yes, I think they'll win game 4. But I tell you what, Arizona. What the hell is going on today? Let me tell you something. Phoenix, which is where Arizona is. Phoenix, they still, they got the home court here. And this is a game, this is a series that could potentially go 7. And again, if you can get Ayton to stay out of foul trouble, Booker's been playing well. Obviously, Chris Paul is who he is. And, regardless of what you think of Chris Paul, the guy's an all-star. The guy's money. He's not going to just lay down because Giannis decides he wants to take over a game. So I really think the rest of the series is going to be really interesting. I think Milwaukee ties it up. We got a 4-4. And then we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm very interested to see how the rest of this, if I could just throw some shade really quick. I was so happy, even though I know people probably think this is the best finals or it's not what everybody wanted to see. I couldn't be happier that there's no Lakers and no Nets in this series. Like, to me, we're getting to see some team basketball. We're getting to see not everybody's a star. Not everybody, we don't have these three-headed monsters that are phenomenal or whatever.
Absolutely.
These all-star teams that we have, these are guys playing basketball and out there trying to get it. They're working to get it. So for me personally, I'm enjoying these finals. No Nets, no Lakers, just fine by me.
So let me ask you guys both: who wins Game 4?
Like I said, I think the Bucks do. At home, they're at home. I think the Bucks win Game 4.
Okay.
I think they tied up. Then we got a 2-2, and then we go from there, baby.
Go from there. Absolutely, I agree. Go with the Bucks. We're all in agreement with that. You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. The Milwaukee Bucks will win Game 4. Guarantee.
Oh, you want to guarantee stuff.
I didn't put that stamp of approval on it.
I will guarantee you this: there will be a winner.
Yes, there you go.
And the loser.
And the loser, right?
There you go.
And probably some bad calls and some flops, but whatever.
Yes.
I digress.
Scott Foster's not officiating.
I digress, right?
So we're going to transition into and so I want to stay in basketball. We're going to transition to the sister league, the WNBA. WNBA All Star game is upon us. Excuse me. Tomorrow, actually, and there's not a lot of publicity about the WNBA All Star game. Very disappointing. I've been hyped up for it practically since I started voting. If you guys remember, I did a live voting of who deserved to be an All Star this year. So the way they did it, they did a team WNBA versus Team USA. Those that made the Olympic squad. Congratulations to those. I'll just go off the list. So Team WNBA is DeWanna Bonner, Liz Cambage, Kalea Cooper, Erica Hamby, Brianna Jones, Jonquel Jones, Benija Laney, Arike Ogunbowale, Candace Parker, Satu Sabali, Courtney Vandersloot, Courtney Williams. Those are the ladies that will represent Team WNBA. And then Team USA Women's is Ariel Atkins, Sue Bird, Tina Charles, Nafisa Collier, Skylar Diggins-Smith, Sylvia Follows, Chelsea Gray, Brittany Griner, Jewel Lloyd, Brianna Stewart, Diana Taurasi, and last but not least, South Carolina, Asia Wilson. And the WNBA legends will be coaching. Lisa Leslie and Tina Thompson will be co-coaches for both squads. And there was a tweet that came out. I have it here. Let me pull it up for y'all. By the Sky Show at Chicago. And practically, let me pull it up. Give me 1 second. Wait. WTF. I think today would be the WNBA All Star and USA Women's Basketball Media Day, right? Have the team WNBA jerseys? How have the team WNBA jerseys not been revealed? How are there barely any activations or hype? Something's kind of missing. And there was a picture. It was a Satu Sabali. I'll leave this in the description for y'all to see. It was, I guess it was a practice jersey, but let me get y'all thoughts on this. How come we're not seeing a lot of publicity of the WNBA All-Star game?
Well, my friend, that's a very good question. And welcome to kind of sports' main problem they've had for years. Male versus female athletes.
Yep.
The male athlete is always looked at as the dominant athlete, right? Women can't quite do what men can do. Men are superior athletes, that sort of thing, that whole thing. You know, when there was a time before the WNBA was, was not really around. You just had women who played college basketball, and they had some other things they'd go play overseas as well because they had some women's leagues out there. But it's you hate to say it, it's just one of those things that unfortunately exist in society where, for whatever reason, people are not as interested in even though these are some really talented ball players, and they're really these gals get at it, man. I've watched them play. I've had the pleasure of watching some of the. I saw Lisa Leslie play live when she was in college at USC. They actually came to Northern Illinois to play the Huskies at the NIU Fieldhouse, and I happen to have a friend on the team who had to guard Lisa Leslie. So God bless
you told us this story.
Tracy Williams, right? My friend Tracy Williams had to guard Lisa Leslie, so that was fun to watch. But yeah, poor Tracy. She did a great job, even though Lisa got the best of her a few times. Sure. But yeah, I mean, these are phenomenal athletes. They deserve the respect. They deserve the love. They deserve just as much as the men get. But unfortunately, like I said, you'd say, but because of the society we live in, it's not going to get as much publicity. It's in the summertime, so you're going to focus on baseball. Basketball ran late this year because of COVID. So you got, they're still playing. You know what I mean? Like, we're getting finals in July. And I just think it gets buried because it's not as important to everyone in the grand scheme of sports, even though it really should be. And that is a shame because, like I said, these ladies play their hearts out. They play for what? Millions of dollars less than what their male counterparts get for this. Sure, some of them do get, some of the better players do get sponsors and ads and that sort of thing. They make a little extra money doing some, endorsing some of the products they endorse. But for the most part, they don't make anywhere near the amount of money their male counterparts do. Yet they play the same game, sweat the same blood, sweat the same tears and all that, and they just don't get the love and respect that they absolutely deserve. I think it's terrible, but again, how do you fix that? That's a very good question.
Yeah. I just want to make a quick point that the average WNBA salary for this year is $120,000.
Exactly. There are doctors who make more than that. I'm just saying, if you're looking at compared, right, 120,000, yeah.
And keep in mind, they're only here for 34 games, and then have to go overseas where they make more money.
Wow.
Liz Cambage, center of the Las Vegas Aces, came out and said that overseas she makes more than she does here.
Yeah.
And
not surprised.
Not surprised at all.
And I've said it numerous times. And the league is the league. We can talk about expansion. We can talk about wanting a team in Miami or New Orleans or Texas, whatever. At the end of the day, you need people that are going to invest in the WNBA. That's what it just. That's just the point. That's just plain and simple. It starts with, again, like I said, if a Jay-Z and a Beyonce, for example, can go to see Kevin Durant and the Brooklyn Nets play, but here's Russell Wilson and Sierra, they're at a New York Liberty game. Why can't Beyonce and Jay-Z do that? But again, I've said it's going to take something like if Kathy Engelberg, who's the commissioner of the WNBA, comes out and said, "Well, here's the situation. The ratings were up, but we're just losing money, and unfortunately, this is going to be the last year you'll see the WNBA. Then that's when you'll see Jay-Z, a Beyonce. I'm just using them as an example. They'll come out, then they'll Kim Kardashian. Well, we cannot let this happen. Only when it fits their agenda. That's how that's just.
Honestly, I think. First and foremost, until you said exactly when it was that the game was tomorrow, I had no clue. I had no clue it was even around time. I had no clue. Part of the reason why it's not getting any publicity is because MLB is this week, is today. MLB, and male versus female, obviously, and that's gonna rear its ugly head in more than just the WNBA. Sure. We know, college, the NCAA kind of is coming down and they passing some pseudo laws and things like that, so giving players freedom to get paid. But the thing that people don't understand is that's just these main stars. That's just maybe the top tier guys. A lot of other lower tier guys aren't getting paid, and women aren't getting paid. So it's all the way across the board and I'm ashamed of it. But I'm going to tell you something. I do think it's going to take more than just Commissioner Englewood saying, we're shutting down our league. I think it's also going to take a dip from the NBA, and I think I don't want to really say it's happening, but it's starting to with all these super teams. People are getting tired of these super teams. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to see 4 major stars come together on a team, and you do that on video games. You know what I mean? Right, one thing I'll definitely say, and I said this to you the other night, Nate, about the college game. The women's college tournament this year was phenomenal.
Was phenomenal.
It was out of this world. They played ball, and I think that's what you're seeing in the WNBA right now. They actually play ball. They go at it. They go hard. I thought they were just, rough a little bit, whatever. But I started seeing, I rolled across on YouTube, like WNBA fights. Yeah. And they go at it. And they are just into it. And that's heart. That's passion. That's desire. They play just as rough, just as tough as guys. I understand they don't play as many games, but you still got one. What did you say it was?
121,000.
Are you kidding me right now? That's
a shame.
Ridiculous.
That's a damn.
And that's not even counting. And that's just the stars.
Right. Not every woman is making 121.
Some of them come in and make $40,000-$50,000 their rookie year.
Right.
On the rookie contract. And I know that they just did the CBA, which I think goes through 2027. But again, I think the biggest thing is we got to talk about, one, giving the league more games. I just feel like them going overseas and where they can risk injury, and I don't like it. But again, I think this is just the media is is the same thing. Unfortunately, the narratives about the WNBA, they need to lower the rim. If they lower the rim, you're going to see more dunks and all those things like that. But here's the flip side of it. You have NBA teams like the Cavaliers, the Timberwolves, the Rockets. They stink, and people and everybody will go and watch these guys play. And the same breath, I'm saying, well, why can't you go see the Los Angeles Sparks versus the Seattle Storm? I just saw this past Friday. I just saw that the Washington Mystics play the Chicago Sky, and that felt like a playoff basketball game to me. More competitive, where guys aren't jacking up 50, 40 threes.
Right.
The score is not 120, 56.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they played some defense. You mean
defense?
Right.
Come on now. I get it, but again, like I said, I blame the media. Because again, the media always controls the narrative, and it always creates narratives. And like I said, and it's not just with the WNBA; it's with anything. We said it. Right. Sean, you were with us. Nick, I'm not sure you got a chance to see the ESPYs, but with Paige Bucker's speech, how she talked about.
I did not actually. I missed the ESPYs.
Actually, let me go ahead and play that clip for y'all.
Okay.
So y'all know what I'm saying, because that also kind of ties to the point where WNBA is a predominantly black league, and I would say it's about 85%.
But another thing that it's going to take, and we started noticing it when these teams were out of the playoffs, when the Lakers and the Trailblazers were out, you see guys like LeBron and Dame Lillard going to these games. It's going to take that. You talk about, Jay-Z and Beyonce. It's going to take high-profile NBA guys going to these games and actually caring about what's going on.
Supporting what's happening, right. Exactly.
But unfortunately, it shouldn't be the athletes. It should be regular people like you and I.
It's not going to hurt though.
But who do the people? Right? Who do the people follow? They follow the athletes.
Well, exactly.
Oh, LeBron James goes to WNBA games. Ooh,
I'll go.
Right. I'll check it out. So here we go.
Say, oh, Lordy God, because this is better than I could have ever imagined. I'm just a small town kid with really big dreams, and I'm honored to show all the little kids that are watching this that dreams do come true if you work hard and you have great faith in your life. A huge shout out to my friends and my family and everybody that helped me get to be where I am today, especially my coaches and my teammates. I stand on this stage alone, but without them, I wouldn't have this award. And they've sacrificed so much for me. Okay, sorry. I just had ankle surgery. I'm out of breath, out of shape. But no, with the life that I have now, as a white woman who leads a Black-led sport and celebrated here, I want to show a light on Black women. They don't get the media coverage that they deserve. They've given so much to this sport and the community and society as a whole, and their value is undeniable. And the WNBA last season, the postseason awards, 80% of the winners were Black, but they got half the amount of coverage as the white athletes. So I think it's time for change. Sports media holds the key to storylines.
That's true.
Sports media and sponsors tell us who is valuable, and you have told the world that I matter today, and everyone who voted, thank you. But I think we should use this power together to also celebrate Black women. So to Maria Taylor, Robin Roberts, Maya Moore, Odyssey Alexander, to all the incredible Black women in my life, on my teams, to Breonna Taylor and all the lives lost, and to those names who have not yet learned, but I hope to share, I stand behind you, and I will continue to follow you and follow your lead and fight for you guys. So I just want to say thank you for everything.
And I mean, she right there. I mean, that thing nailed it right there. I mean, it's going to take, but it really shouldn't be. It shouldn't be her. It should be all of us that have used these platforms, and we continue to take down these narratives. Let me just say this. Last year, the WNBA. I know we're kind of they were in the bubble, okay, and they had. It was 144 of them. Some of them didn't want to be there. Okay, but let me just give you the award winners. Asia Wilson, MVP. I believe. Hold on, where is it? Finals MVP, Breonna Stewart. Rookie of the Year, Crystal Dangerfield. Most Improved Player, Benijah Laney. Defensive Player of the Year, Candace Parker. Sixth Women of the Year, Derica Hamby. The Kim Parrott Sportsmanship Award, Nneka Ogwumike. That didn't get a lot of media coverage.
No.
It wasn't talked about. Cam says, well, Cam, what's good, bro? What's going on, sir? Cam says, Sean, you cut your hair.
Oh, wow.
And I told you, I put the link in the chat. So get on camera, Cam.
But, unfortunately, it's really going to take a lot to destroy these narratives. And I think this was just another example of the way the WNBA is viewed. And again, Black women-led sport. And I just, no one seems to really understand, like, where's the publicity at? So I can't wait to watch the All Star game tomorrow. I'm excited, to be honest with you. I'm looking forward to be competitive. It's in Las Vegas, by the way. So I think Team USA women will win. I'm looking on the score of 130.
No, Nate's going with offense.
124.
There you go.
Wow.
And
That's an
your
offensive juggernaut for a WNBA game. That's a yeah.
Right.
Your MVP will be Tina Charles.
Oh, Tina Charles.
You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen.
You heard it? Okay, breaking news. Nate Snell tells you how it is. Film at 11.
Guarantee.
That's right. I guarantee. What are you, Justin Wilson, the Louisiana cook? I guarantee.
So we're going to stick with basketball.
You guys are killing me now.
We're going to talk about Team USA.
Look, I got to readjust. You guys can't even sit straight with you guys.
That's okay.
I readjust myself for a minute. Ugh.
We're going to Team USA. They got their first win tonight against,
Oh, look at that.
was it Argentina?
They beat up
Yes.
Argentina. Right, there you go. Get on the
Final
board,
score
boys.
They could beat
108.
Nigeria.
108-80. Unfortunately, they lost to Australia the other night, 91-83.
Damn.
Again, can we please put emphasis on these are exhibition games, and like,
But Nate, exhibition games tell you what's going to happen during the regular season.
I understand that,
They
but
give you a little clue as to what's happening.
understand that, but keep in mind,
Little clue.
Chris Middleton's not there, Drew Holiday's not there, Devin Booker's not
And
there.
they weren't there for the first 2 games of the finals either.
I understand that.
Wow, there it is. Boom.
But here's the thing, right? So here's the roster: Bam Adebayo, Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, Jeremy Grant, Draymond Green, Zach LaVine, Damian Lillard, Kevin Love, Jason Tatum. If I'm looking at this roster, you know what I see? I see a lot of ball dominant players.
No.
I don't see defense.
Defense.
No. Right, except for Draymond. That's it.
I don't
Draymond-
see defense.
Kevin Love, we could put him at when he chooses to defend.
Well, that's the thing. If he's Kevin Love from the
Minnesota.
2000,
Cavaliers,
yeah, like 7
right.
years ago, maybe Kevin Love.
Unfortunately, and no disrespect to him, I know this is a real thing, that mental health stuff is the truth.
Yeah.
And it might have, he just has not been the same since he came out with the mental health stuff.
That is
Right.
very true, isn't it? Like
Good
that's
point.
kind
Good
of
observation.
You know?
But also, too,
Right.
I think he doesn't want. I just don't think he wants to be in Cleveland. I think he really wants to be in a winning environment.
Does anybody want to be in Cleveland? Like
Well.
that kind of a,
Exactly.
Just saying, like
That's a
Exactly.
very good point, Nick. That's a very
Yeah.
good point. But
once
like,
LeBron left, that was over.
yeah, that's true. But I mean, I understand. I mean, I'm not panicking after 2 games. Like, the Australia game, Joe Ingles dropped 17. Matisse Thybulle from the Philadelphia 76ers dropped 12. And then you had Chris Goodling had 11. So, again, like.
But I think it's good that they lost, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to get taken down a peg.
Yes.
And sometimes you have to realize that just because, you're putting together, 10, 12 All-Stars from the NBA doesn't mean you're going to come in here and wipe the floor with everybody. The gap has closed in the last 10 years, boys. You have professionals representing every country, guys who play in the NBA, who go home who play for their home country, and guess what? They play well, and they played against these guys, and they know their weaknesses, and there's some are teammates of these guys. They know the deal. They know what's happening. Like
Exactly.
these guys are professionals. So yeah, I think I'm glad Team USA lost 2 games because now maybe you'll wake up and realize you have to play. You got to play some defense. You got to make sure you're playing some team ball because that's what these countries do. That they don't, they have 1 or 2 superstars most of these countries, and they've got other supporting players. And what do? They play as a team.
Right.
They pass the ball. They look for the open man. You look for the open shot. Whatever. But the fact is, when I don't like when USA basketball gets lazy, and I'm hoping that these 2 losses, even though they blew out Argentina this evening.
How do you do that? How do you do that? What the hell is going on? How do you?
Stephen A. Smith is yelling at me. What's that about?
That was with team we lost.
Yeah,
to
I know.
Nigeria.
I know. Stephen A's yelling at me. I'm like, why are you yelling at me, Stephen
Shout out
A?
to Team Nigeria, well deserved win. Not taking anything away from them. I know.
I'm not taking away from anybody. That's my point.
Exactly.
These people came out and played. They whooped.
Yeah.
They got them. Like you say, lost. There's no excuse. You lost.
Yeah.
And
You guys let the other team move on.
Exactly. And Nick,
let's go.
You said, again, the NBA does not play remote. Does not play like these guys overseas.
Not at
Like,
all.
this is according to Chris B. Haynes. Several players are still adjusting to the FIBA officiating. Quote, throughout the games, multiple players from Jason Tatum to Bradley Beal have been staring down officials following no calls as they've been accustomed to receiving touch fouls.
Well, of course it is because they're not going to call that. And well, I'm not even going to say it. I was going to say a word, but I don't want to offend anyone. But these ticky-tack BS fouls that they call in the NBA and the calls that all these diva superstar NBA players look for because they get them there, you're not going to get that here, bro. Play some defense, play the game. Stop looking for calls. Get your head out of your behind and let's go.
And case in point, right? When what did that article say? It said that Bradley Beal and Jason Tatum were staring down the refs. By the time you're staring down the ref, they've already gone on the fast break the other way.
Right.
They're not paying attention to that.
Because you're
You know what I
deciding
mean?
you want to argue with the ref. Exactly.
Right. I used to teach my kids all the time when I coach football and basketball. You don't got time for that.
Right.
You might as well just go ahead and think that the refs and the other team was against you. Okay? You don't sit here, because if you rely on them, if you live by them, you're going to die by them.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So, you know.
And then I have another quote. I have another quote from Twitter. This is at Johnny NBA. The FIBA rules are perfect. Less time, less reviews, and more physical. Start the game and get it over with within 2 hours or less. Only if the NBA could get a clue. Well, I mean, again, like the NBA style of play is live by the three, die by the three. You know, a lot of these guys, they lack skill.
Worst thing happened to basketball ever.
Exactly. You know, again, and unfortunately, I blame these AAU leagues. You know, everybody, has to play a certain way. You know, no one knows how to post up. Nobody knows how to play a 2-3 zone or a 1-3-1 zone. Nobody, no one had this. They lack certain skills. And, I want to play a quick quote from the great Greg Popovich, which, by the way, I want to say this up in front. Greg Popovich is a Hall of Fame coach. And I think for those people that sit there and disrespect him by saying ever since Tim Duncan's left, he's never been the same. BS, people. That's BS. This is Greg Popovich. These guys are adjusting to him, and he's adjusting to them. Just like with Chuck Daly and the 92 Dream Team. Okay? Mm-hmm. So here's a little post-game interview.
Like you said, these other teams and these other countries just continue to improve. These players, they get better, they get more confident, and they also, they want to beat us badly. So it's definitely noticeable when you're on the floor.
Go ahead. You know, let me also answer that question. You asked the same sort of question, the same family of question last time, where you assume things that are not true. When you just mentioned, blowing these teams out, that's never happened. So I don't know where you get that. Can I finish? Can I finish? You're saying that's not true. Your average market. Can I finish my statement?
Can I finish, huh? Can I finish?
Those last two terms. Can I finish my statement?
Can I finish, huh?
When you talk.
What's up, bro? Can I finish?
I'm telling you, your average market. Are you going to let me finish my statement or not?
Can I finish or not? Can I finish?
While I talk. And then
Who got next? Who got next?
You're interviewing me.
Can I finish? Who got next?
Yeah, look at Dame. Dame,
right. Look at that. Come on, man.
Number one, you get the other team. And I talked to you last time about the same thing. We've had very close games against 4 or 5 countries in all these tournaments. So the good teams do not get blown out. There are certain games that might happen in one of the tournaments in the World Championship, the Olympics, where somebody gets blown out. But in general, nobody's blowing anybody out for the good teams. So when you make a statement like that, it's like you assume that's what's going on.
Yeah.
That's incorrect.
Talk to him, Pop. Talk to him. So, I mean, again.
Can I finish? Can I finish? Can I finish? Can I finish?
Is a savage. I love Greg Popovich. I wish I could play for a coach like that. And again, like it's we're exhibition games. I understand, but everyone's again filling each other out, and again they'll get it together. Trust me, they'll get it together. So we're going to step away from basketball. We're going to get into Major League Baseball. We're going to start with the first half of the season. What do we think? Most surprising team, most disappointing team, most surprising player. Who is your first half of the season MVP? Nick, I will start with you.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a lot to chew. Let's see. I'll try to remember everything you said there. But no, the first half has been interesting. I think in terms of surprise, I don't, the San Francisco Giants, maybe.
Okay, I can agree with that.
I mean, I think people expected the Dodgers would come out and kind of start and blow everybody away, or just be that dominant team in the beginning. And then the Padres were like, oh, we're the up-and-comer. We got Tatis Jr. We got, we're coming for you. We picked up My guy from the Cubs, we picked up by Yu Darvish. We're coming at you. Padres are coming. Here we go. And the Giants said, well, not so fast, my friend. And here you go. And I think one of the surprises is the Giants. I think another surprise, maybe not as big a one, but just with the size of their lead now, the NL Central, the Brewers have pretty much taken over that division.
Yes.
And I don't know to the extent that people thought Milwaukee would be that dominant. Yeah, but Milwaukee has really taken over that NL Central. And, the Cubs
I think it was
obviously.
like Cincinnati for like a good 2-3 weeks.
Well, that's the thing. I think Cincinnati would be one of the more disappointing because I think they came into the season. A lot of people expected they would be much better and in a better position than what they are currently.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think they're kind of one of the that disappointment, but one of the first half underachievers, as it were. I think more was expected of them, and it's not happening. And now you've got Milwaukee, who's kind of running away with the division as we get into the halfway point here. But there's been some. And again, I don't want to toot my own horn because I think people know if you paid attention, I am a White Sox fan. And, I know the White Sox, we made the playoffs last year. People were some expectation going into this year, which was good. But then we got struck with some injuries. We lost Jimenez in spring training. Then we lost Lewis Robert right at the beginning of the year. Now we've lost our second baseman, Nick Madrigal. We've filled in places. We've done this. We've done, and yet still here we are. We are in first place, which makes me very happy. But
how do you feel about Tony La Russa as the manager for the White Sox?
I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sugarcoat. I'm not going to pretend like because we're in first place now, it's the greatest thing in the world. I was not happy with the signing when it happened. I didn't entirely agree with it. Yes. Is it working out right now? It is. And I hope that it continues to work out. Again, but I'm not going to pretend like I was not for it. And, and early on, when a couple of things happened, people were like, well, that's it. We knew this was going to happen. Tony forgot the one rule in the one game about base running. Then he made like a mistake with the bullpen the next week, so people were jumping on him again. And again, I live in Chicago, so I listen to sports radio all the time, and they were letting him just have it. He's too old. The game is passing by. He's too old. Yada, all this stuff. And then again,
everybody was letting him have it.
Right. A little bit of it might have been warranted, but the fact of the matter is, going after that stuff, and in the last month and a half, 2 months, I can't argue much with what Tony's done, to be honest with you, as far as managerial decisions go, and in dealing with all the injuries that he's had to deal with, and bringing guys up and placing them in here, and having guys like an Andrew Vaughn come up and play well, Jake Lamb, Jake Berger, like you guys, who are these guys? Exactly. These are guys we had to bring up from our farm system to plug in holes just to keep the team good. We lost our catcher. We lost Yasmani Grandal a week and a half ago. He had surgery. He's out. So now we got to find a catcher for another month or two to help us. We got Zach Collins, but
Mercedes got sent down the minor leagues, right?
Yeah, and Mercedes was sent back down at the time. I'm sure he'll come back up at some point. But again, I don't know if they'll let him catch, what they're going to do with him. There's so many questions. But through it all, and just for the record, my man Kimbrel just got the save in the All Star game. He finished the game. Okay. White Sox. I mean, not Kimbrel. My Liam Hendricks, my guy, just finished the game. Thank you very much. But yeah, so I just think you have to, but my first half, as far as it goes, I'm enjoying baseball. Just to be able to I've been to 2 games, White Sox games this year, which makes me happy that I get to go back to my ballpark and watch my team play. And of course, for those who don't know, I also work at Wrigley Field. So I've had a chance to watch the Cubbies play and watch some of these other teams play as well. So it's been a fun year so far. I've enjoyed the first half. I'm glad we got people back in stadiums. It's nice to come to a full stadium and watch a ball game and watch people having a good time and enjoying themselves. But yeah, I would say, first half has been great. I think pretty much in every other division, like Tampa Bay and Boston are battling in the East. Maybe people are a little down on the Yankees who haven't played well. I mean, no offense. If it wasn't for your Orioles, they'd be at the bottom. Just saying. Sorry. I know you guys, that sucks.
Well,
but it's not even close.
No, I don't. I don't. But I'm just saying, every other division is pretty much, Houston's winning in this.
Houston, I would say this. Houston has definitely surprising.
Well, you know what? But see, that's the thing. And I people getting into the cheating scandal and all that stuff, that was always a good team. So take all that nonsense out of that. Like, this was always a good team.
And also, and George Springer is not on this team.
Right. Springer's gone. So I'm not as surprised. Maybe some other people are, but I'm not so surprised that Houston is winning that AL West. Like, good for them. I mean, again, cheating scandal, if they cheated, they cheated. They got away with it. You're not going to strip the title. We know that. So we need to move on. I don't, again, I think it sucks, but whatever. What are you going to do? You're not going to take the title from them, so there's no use talking about it anymore.
Like
what's done is done. Move on, right? Because that's all we can do. Exactly. I know it sucks, and I don't always take that position, but in this particular case, it's like, if you're not going to do anything about it, then stop talking about it. It's done. It's over with. You're not going to do anything. Bye. Let's move on. So, again, Houston, that two-man race in the East with, Boston and Tampa Bay, it looks like the White Sox are pretty much in control of the Central. Unless they have a major collapse, they should go on to win the division.
Okay.
You look at the Mets and Braves are kind of battling in the AL or in the NL East, which that could be a great one going forward. But the Braves lost Acuna Jr. though. That's a big. I will also say
they've been disappointing as well.
No, but Acuna Jr. being out really hurts them.
For sure.
That's a huge loss for them. So yeah, New York could now just kind of run away with that division, I suppose. And again, Milwaukee right now is in control. I don't see anybody else really battling back to beat them the way that they're playing. So, yeah, I mean, we could have some interesting matchups come playoff time, and I'll be definitely looking forward to that. But, again, first half has been good. It's good to see people back in the ballpark, and I'm interested to hear what you gentlemen have to say.
Sean, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, I really got to mimic everything he said. I think the most surprising thing for me, Houston, and actually Chicago, the White Sox. I didn't see that coming. I don't follow Chicago as much, but to see how they've gone up, and then you, Nick, you talk about you work with the Cubs. This descent from it wasn't that long ago that they were in the title. When the World
5 years ago,
and it's like they have literally fallen off of a cliff. What is it, like 6 games in a row they've lost?
Well, no, they lost 11. They lost 11 straight, and then it was 12 out of 14, and they pretty much went from buying at the All Star break to selling at the trading deadline. Right. So yeah, that could be bad.
And I thought it was pretty interesting, and something that I don't like is a side subject, but something I don't like is becoming more frequent now in a lot more sports. I've seen it in NBA and baseball, where they have the earpiece on the player or the coach during the game. I understand for the All-Star game, I get that, but I've seen that. Like, I even hate it. Like fourth quarter, where they'll have the interview right while the NBA coach is in the timeout. Have it.
Yeah.
What are you doing? I want to be like, dude, I got nothing to say to you right now. Like, I'm trying to get my game. Right. You know what I mean? So, but I thought that was crazy because they had Chris Bryant with a little earpiece in an interview, and they were saying, "Hey, I know you've been, you're out in the outfield, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but." You guys were up, and now you might get traded. So how do you feel about that?
Right.
And he's sitting here like, are you serious? Like, are you kidding?
I mean, it's just, yeah, I second those thoughts with Rizzo, Baez, Bryant, Contreras. They're all part of that big core. And unfortunately it happens in championship teams. You go here and you just start all over again. But I would say the most disappointing team has to be the Yankees. On paper, this team should be at least numbered. It should be second in the American League. The fact that Tampa Bay hasn't lost a step. Chicago surprised me. Minnesota definitely disappointing to me. Cleveland, without Francisco Lindor, they're actually still hanging around. I thought they were kind of going to struggle. The Rangers, I don't know what's going on down there in Texas, but I think it's time that they need to consider a rebuild mode. Houston, definitely surprising. Nick, you touched on that in terms of this team before the cheating scandal was already competitive.
Yeah, they truly were.
And especially against the Yankees, where they swept them. Come on now. It's time we really kind of start going, okay, you know what? We were right. The NL East is pretty still close. Like the Marlins are 9 games out of first place, so like it's still really kind of anyone's race. Like it really hurts that the Marlins have a better record than the Orioles.
The Marlins.
Yeah.
Good old Marlins.
I will also say another team, the Arizona St. Louis Cardinals. They got Nolan Arenado and that robbery from the Colorado Rockies, and they're on paper they should not be a third in the NL Central. Cincinnati, like you said, definitely is falling off a little bit. The San Francisco Giants. No, I didn't think they would be where they are. Matt Bum's not there. Buster Posey, Brandon Belt, Brandon Crawford. Again, bread and butter. And Mike Yastrzemski, former Oriole. Alex Dickerson. Those boys are playing. And the Padres and the Dodgers, disappointing. I don't know what the future's going to hold for Trevor Bauer with his sexual assault allegations. I don't know what's going to hold.
Yeah, that's
another day they were supposed to do like a bobblehead night, and they took that away from him.
Gots to behave, young men. Gots to behave.
So we don't know what that's going to be, but I would say, and I'll pass this around. First half of the season MVP, Jacob DeGrom.
I mean, pitchers don't normally get that, but it's hard. It's sometimes hard to argue when a guy is that dominating of a first half. You go, well, who else would you give it to? Like, why not Jacob DeGrom, right? Like, why would you? And it's funny because I am on my fantasy baseball team, so I love it. But it's hard. I mean, I don't. Again, you could throw out a few other names, I suppose, but I have no problem with that. I mean, again, because to me, what is an MVP? What is it? Literally, what are the abbreviations stand for? Most valuable player, not most liked player, not most interesting player, not most statistically accurate player. Most valuable? And right now,
I would like to add because I would like to ask you a question.
No, championships don't matter. No, I'm kidding.
When you win an MVP, does team success matter or individual success matter when it comes to MVP?
I see. I don't think. I mean, it's not MVP of a particular team. It's MVP. Who's the most valuable player? Now, obviously, that person will help. Go ahead, Sean. You go ahead.
In my opinion, it's Ohtani. I like Ohtani because everything he's doing for that team.
Well,
with Trout out, you know what I mean. No, and they're, I mean, not to cut you off, but I'm just saying. And when we talk about MVP,
most valuable player.
Yeah, Jarrett. Yep.
I feel you, man. I feel you. Again, like the only thing about the Braves that concerned me was the pitching. I'm a fan of Mike Soroka, Ian Anderson, and those boys. I was just like, wow, okay, because we had a little something going on there. Who's better? Ohtani or Tatis?
But what are you comparing? You're comparing a pitcher hitter to a shortstop.
I want to go with Ohtani because we're seeing something we've never seen before. The two-way him as a two-way player, what he can do on both sides of the baseball, like you have to appreciate it.
Yeah,
you have to appreciate it.
You know what's great about Ohtani too? When he gets older, and maybe not as he can always go to the National League and he can still hit every 5 days and pitch every 5 days. He'd still have a career. We used to talk about the other way. We're like, okay, the guy can't play the field anymore, but he can still hit. So send him to the American League, he can be a DH. But with Ohtani, it's the opposite. When he leaves the American League and he can't play as much anymore, send him to the National League. He'll hit every 5 days still, and he can still pitch. So I think that guy's got a long career ahead of him.
I love that he has. I love that he has his. Whenever he does the interviews, he has his interpreter.
Well, he has to. He doesn't speak English.
But I'm just wondering. I wonder if he's.
I want to clarify. He does speak English.
Well, he does, but it's not very well.
That's privately.
Privately. So, Jared wants. Who's the face of the league? Who do you guys think?
Jim Anderson. No, I'm kidding. Hometown. I was being a homer there, but no.
I mean, until Trout got hurt, I would have said Trout.
Yeah, I think Mike Trout was the face of baseball, sure.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Once he got hurt,
I mean, you got to look at guys like a Tatis. People know the name now. Vlad Guerrero Jr.
Guerrero
You know,
Jr.
these
Right,
are you know any son of an old ball player who's now just as good a ball player as their old man, if not better. Those guys are going to get that attention. So like I said, Tatis, Guerrero Jr. These guys, you know those names already. You know, Pete Alonso's won the home run derby for the second year in a row. Not that he's the face, but people know who Pete Alonso is now. You know what I mean?
Yep.
If you say Pete Alonso to somebody, go, oh yeah, the home run king, that guy.
Yep.
So I mean, there's always people who are going to be known for different things.
Right.
But yeah, I think face of the league could be one of those kids. I think definitely.
For sure.
I mean,
I agree with that.
Vlad Jr. nailed what, a 468 footer.
Yeah, I know.
And Tatis was on the headset too, and he just stopped and he looked up and he said, "No, that's not gonna go after that one."
And ladies and gentlemen, that's at Coors Field. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a hitter's park.
That's with that thin air and that give me a break. I mean, come on, did you see that Alonso had like a 520-foot shot yesterday or something, whatever it was.
Lord,
Come on, man, that's obscene.
That's obscene. We're going to transition as we talk about the home run derby. So we all look. So I mean, what did you guys think? What did you guys think of the home run derby? The winner was now two-time champion, home run king, New York Met Pete Alonso defeated Trey Mamba Mancini.
Mamba.
Well, yeah, great
in the
story.
final round. Great story for Trey Mancini.
That Ohtani versus Soto.
Oh, but that first round match, that first round match.
That was dope.
Yes.
Soto, I'm not even a Nationals fan. Everybody thinks I'm from DC, so I'm a Nationals fan.
Right.
I'm not a fan. I'm Orioles, Baltimore. That's who I grew up with. But
Okay.
Soto, that guy is the truth. That guy is a monster.
When you got to go to two swing offs or whatever, the two overtime periods
it was
to get to the next round.
It was 22-22, and then oh my gosh,
Yeah.
Soto.
Like I was sitting there going like, okay, Ohtani's going to win, but those last 4 or 5 swings, he was tired.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He looked it, and they said it. He looked tired, and he did. And hey, sometimes you just outlast a guy. What can you do?
I will say probably the most kind of disappointing one was Joey Gallo versus Trevor Story.
Hey, Story came out and hit his butt off though. Like I give Story credit for being the a hometown guy. He's playing around the home crowd.
Are y'all surprised that he was in there? Are y'all surprised he was in there?
No,
maybe a little bit, but
a little bit, but I think it's because again he's a homer.
Yeah,
so, Colorado, and it's probably honestly this probably will be his last year in Colorado because if they ship Nolan Arenado out there, then Trevor Story's next.
Probably
next, right.
But I think I would say the biggest story of last night was Trey Mamba Mancini.
Of course,
I mean, just man.
The man battled cancer and he's back.
Yeah. And to see where he's at now, all be praised God's glory. And
yeah, it's a great story. You got to feel for the guy. It was awesome.
It's amazing to really see, where he's come from then. I'm not gonna lie. When I found out that he was diagnosed with colon cancer, I low key cried because he was one of our prospects that came up. I remember watching his debut against the Pirates. And he hit the game-winning home run, and just to see where he's mature as a player, and again, cancer sucks. You hate to see that with anybody, and just to see where how the way he's played this year, and just the way he played last night. You just gotta thank the Lord, and again with family, friend support, and. I was on the edge of my seat. I thought he was going to win, but I mean, regardless, it was a great night for him. It was a great night. I enjoyed it. Salvador Perez didn't do too bad, but Pete Alonso is that boy's a beast.
When he's locked in, he's locked in. Let's be honest. And that was the thing when he started. Because think about it, Mancini had a great final round as well.
Yes, he did.
He had what 22.
22.
And so Alonso had to go into his bonus time. I mean, he hit the 23rd, the bonus time, but still, it wasn't a cakewalk for him. PD had to perform too. because Mancini did not let up on him at all, and that was great to see. Like that's what you want to see. And again, for whatever reason, when it comes to the batting practice homer, Pete Alonso's the man. You know what are you gonna do? It's the second time he's won the home run derby, and you know he's the bobblehead. He's over there dancing to his music. You know he's doing all this, and he's in his groove, and he was. Right. And that's all you can say. Like when a guy's in a groove, what are you gonna do? The guy was in a groove. You're right. He's bobbing around, he's all got his head going. He's all doing his thing. But hey,
now my only thing about the home run derby that I don't like is it does something to these guys in the second half. Their swings
that's if you let it. I understand what you're saying, Nate, but that's only if you let it. That's like saying I played softball while I was on break. Now I got to go back to hitting like major leaguer. Because I stopped playing softball for 4 days. Like you're a professional. You make that adjustment,
right?
Like you know better. Like that's yeah. I get what you're saying, but yeah, that's do not give him that cop out, Nate. That's not
right. No, I'm just saying.
Get your butt out there and play ball, son. I don't want to hear that.
I understand. I believe Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was supposed to play, but I guess he said he and his dad talked and said, we're not going to participate in the home run derby. So
that's fine.
He cranked, like I said, one out of the park in the All Star game, so he saved it for them.
There you go, Vlad. Right, you hit one, you hit one. There you go.
So, and unfortunately, we got to talk about it. This is the last topic. Stephen A. Smith said some things. So, if you guys are not aware of, one could argue that the home run derby is the All Star thing. Yeah, I agree. But I would also like to see a couple things change with the All Star weekend. I would like to see who can steal, who has the best time from first to second.
Oh, you want more competitions, more skill stuff, huh? You want some of that?
Like a skills thing. I would like to see something like that.
Like the 3-point shooting in basketball. Yep. You want one of those?
Yep.
Okay.
But
maybe 1 year.
Right. Yeah, we'll see. But Stephen A. Smith said some things about his comments about Shohei Ohtani. Before we say this, let me preference my comments by saying this. The sport in the video I showed you earlier with Paige. The media controls narratives and it creates unnecessary headlines.
I'm lying.
This was one that did not need to be created. Okay, so we're gonna talk about it, and I'm gonna get y'all's thoughts on this. And unfortunately, Stephen A. Smith definitely took L on this one.
And I understand that baseball is an international sport itself in terms of participation. But when you talk about an audience gravitating to the tube or to the ballpark to actually watch you, okay, I don't think it helps that the number one face is a dude that needs an interpreter so you can understand what the hell he's saying in this country.
So that was the clip. First and foremost, let me say this. Stephen A. Smith, he's real passionate about certain things, particularly when it comes to more for HBCUs, different things like that. But this was one where he was completely ignorant, where he was completely miseducated and completely out of pocket. Like, because someone doesn't speak English, that should not take away the fact that regardless of a language they speak, they're still marketable. Shohei Ohtani is an MVP candidate. Like, I don't understand, and I want to give a shout out to Russell Goodacre. We had a conversation about this. Major League Baseball is a distant third from football and the NBA. It doesn't know how to market its own league. Major League Baseball is kind of still in the old school phase, like the 1950s. Like it shouldn't make a difference of who speaks a language. Ichiro Suzuki, when he came in the league, he was the face of the Seattle Mariners. When he had the 262 hits, when he was this close to getting Joe DiMaggio's hitting streak. that was marketable. Tanaka for the Yankees. There are multiple examples, and not with them. Vladimir Guerrero, Ronald Acuna, Tatis Jr. These guys are marketable, and I think Stephen
Those are different. Because let me play devil's advocate for a second. I completely agree that it's out of pocket. He probably shouldn't have said it, and probably should have worded it a lot differently. We're in a very polarizing time in history, in sports, and at this time, honestly, and with him being all about HBCUs and all about the blacks, making moves and strides and everything. I think if it was somebody like a Tatis or it was somebody like a Guerrero, he wouldn't have so much of a problem with it. This league is actually more of like the Cuban American, like the South American that has come up and really dominated in the league, even more than the black and the white. But unfortunately, going back to what you said, Nathan, the image that we get in this whole thing, ever since the Kwame Brown.
I agree with that. We definitely got some of that. Some of mama's cooking. Shout out to Kwame Brown, y'all.
Yeah, but I honestly think he was out of pocket for saying it, but I understand it. You know what I mean? I understand it in the sense that he's trying to bring it back to being America first and bring it back to being. It's a terrible way to say it, but you're in this country, speak the language, and it's horrible. This is not all right. I'm playing devil's advocate, but I'm saying that it's. I get what he's saying. That's all I'm trying to say is that I get it. Was it right? No. He definitely could have worded it better, but it's definitely something where it's like that is something that struck me today. I actually brought it up with you guys. It's no disrespect to Ohtani. If we were over in his home native land, we would have to do the same thing. But that was something that I immediately said, because he is the face. He's the face in my mind of the Angels, and he's becoming the face of the league. Everybody knows him. Right. But it is the thing that you would say about Tanaka and Suzuki and some of those guys, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think they needed an interpreter?
No, Ichiro could speak. Tanaka could speak.
And see, I think that, I'm just saying that really hit me tonight. When I saw him and they did the interview and he had the interpreter, because in my mind, the only thing I kept thinking was, wouldn't it be funny if, the interpreter is getting the question and then he's just sitting here to Tanaka like, these fools, they have no clue what the heck's going on. And then Tanaka's in here like, yeah. And then they give back a random response. You know what I mean? It's just something, right. I don't know, something that threw me off. But I completely understand what y'all are saying and what you're saying. But Nick, go ahead, man.
Well, real quick, I want to give a shout out to Jared. I think this is a case of not staying in your lane. Stephen A. Clay doesn't know the makeup of MLB. Good point.
Shout out to Jared Harmon, man. DJ, big time. A lot of those videos and commercials I put out, his songs are in there, man. Stay tuned. I'm gonna definitely be getting up with him on doing some things this fall. So, shout out to Jared Harmon, man. He doing his thing. Follow him on SoundCloud. I think it's J Red. Put your info in this stuff, man. I gotta put you out there.
Please do.
It's for sure. I want to support anybody. Support the local artists, my friend.
Make your point.
Well, it's funny, Sean. Not funny, Sean, but it because I get, as you said, I can get what Stephen A. is trying to say, in the sense of, baseball is always taking a hit for not being marketable, not marketing its players, and not doing that. So yes, you could, again, it's very, but as you said, you hit it right on the head with your opening statement. We live in a polarizing time, and whether you think it's right or wrong, or whether you think, I'm sort of racist because I slightly understand what Stephen A. Smith was trying to say. You get the point. His execution was wrong, but you get what he's trying to say, because, as you said, everything is media driven. Everything is it's marketing. It's we live in a culture of bam, bam, bam. Everything is a 3-minute clip. Everything, or a 3-second clip. If you don't keep my attention in 3 seconds, I'm switching to something else. We are in a very fast society in the way that we live and the way that we do things. And do I like it? Personally, no. I'm an old school guy. I'm 48 years old. I hate the internet. I'm not going to lie to you. I hate the internet.
But
I hate that, and let's be honest. I can be a blowhard when I want to be. I hate that guys like me have the right to say whatever the hell I want on something like this. Like,
What,
shut up.
Nick?
Nobody cares
What
about
was
what
that,
I
Nick?
right. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody cares what I really have to say in the grand scheme. I'm not changing anybody's life here. I'm not saying anything that's really that damn profound, but it's my opinion. It's what I feel. It's what I think. And Stephen A gets paid to do what I don't. That's the difference. The big difference is he's got a national audience and he has to be more careful about what he says. I don't. And again, it's not that I don't care, because that's not it. I'm very sensitive to the way the world is today. I really am. Don't get me wrong. There are a lot of atrocities in this world that I wish I could change. But when it comes to when you want to say something and when you want to make a point, you do have to be careful with which you make it, because let's be honest about something as well. Everybody who watches Stephen A. and guys like that, but Stephen A. especially, because when you ask people who's the face of ESPN, Stephen A. Smith, most people are probably going to say that. Let's just be honest. Everybody knows who Stephen A. Smith is. Guy's even on General Hospital. Guy does acting, okay? Like, come on. But my point to that is, when he says something, he tells you, right? Because he said this himself. He means what he says. He says what he means, right? He gives it to you from his heart, his passion, his whatever. So deep down, this is something that Stephen A. truly believes.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have said it. Let's just be honest about that. Now, again, could he have said it a little bit better? Absolutely.
Well, I would have liked the producers to give him for him to clarify what he meant by that. I mean, my thing is.
Yeah, but that doesn't make good TV, though, Nate. If you tell him to clarify at that moment, you take away from what happens after that, which, as you said, is the discussion, the backlash. Because what do you want? You want hits. What's on ESPN.com? Stephen A. Smith says this. Well, everybody's going to click on that. Well, what the hell does Stephen A. Smith say? Who did he insult, or who did he offend, or who did he do this? That's the whole point, Nate. Because media does control a lot. News media, sports media, new print media. Come on, how many times have you been on Facebook and you clicked on a story because it sounded interesting to you?
Right.
And then you got 48,000 ads, you couldn't read the damn thing, and then you got tired and just left. But the fact of the matter is, you clicked on it. Why? Because it was there. You saw the soundbite, you saw the clip, and went, oh, I got to read that, or I got to see what happened here. And that's the society we live in. Good, bad, or indifferent, that's how we live these days. And that's how we get our information.
Well, I mean, and again, I don't disagree with any of you guys' points. You guys make very good points. I just look at it like this: Major League Baseball has internal problems as itself.
Oh, the fact that Pete Rose isn't in the Hall of Fame should tell you the kind of problems that the MLB has. You didn't go after anybody in the steroid era, but now you want to go after the goop that pitchers are wearing on their uniform. Give me a break. I don't want to hear it.
Kind of passionate about this.
A little bit. Baseball is my favorite sport, pal.
He took the words out of my mouth. But I mean,
love you, man.
But I think I think he opened up a conversation about Major League Baseball, what to market. It's not about Ohtani. It's not about Tatis, DeGrom. Major League Baseball cannot make up its mind. 1 year it's about the pitching. Next year it's about the home runs.
Right.
Now this year, Nick already alluded to it, where guys are getting checked if they got sticky substances on them. Max Scherzer, Daniel's about to take off his about to get butt naked.
Right, guys are taking off their uniforms just to show you they don't have anything on them.
Come on, that's disgusting to see. But
it's true.
But I'm just saying, as a league, because here Rob Mansford, who's the commissioner, again, who I think is a prodigy of Bud Selig, who was another one who turned a blind eye with the steroids.
Blind eye is not the word. Can you say he ran the other way from that? Come
Yeah,
on, man.
that too.
Plus, he was the owner of a team. You know, he was owner of the
Milwaukee
Brewers, and he was the commissioner. And you're like, come on, dude. Like, if you transparent, you know, no, sorry, you go ahead. I'm not you. Don't even get me started.
Struck a chord. He struck a chord.
But I'm just saying. I mean, I understood what he was trying to say, but I think to use Ohtani in that was not a great example.
No, not a great look at all.
I think that's
bad example.
The way he should have used something. He should have completely. I wouldn't have used them because, like, regardless, not all these guys are marketable.
Yeah.
Regardless, I mean, like in the NBA, example: Luka Doncic, Nikola Jokic, Dirk.
Yeah.
You know, Bam Adebayo, Pascal. They're all marketable. I don't think it really. To me, I just feel like because they don't speak English, insanity. If we go overseas, Spanish, French, Italian, German, Portuguese, don't matter. If you can play, you can play.
Right.
It's all about that. I'm more worried about the skills than you. Can you speak a language? I'm more about Ohtani. Again, two-way player. We're seeing something we've never seen before.
Right.
And unfortunately, Stephen A. Smith kind of took that away. I don't want to say I kind of feel like that kind of guy in Ohtani's head, but I could be wrong. But I do want to point this out. Shout out to Gary Sheffield Jr., son of Gary Sheffield. I have the tweet. Hold on, let me pull it up.
One of the best pure hitters in baseball, by the way, Mr. Gary Sheffield.
And one of the most unorthodox swings.
Yes, but that guy could hit, man. I loved watching Gary Sheffield hit. I won't lie.
I remember when he played for the Marlins, Dodgers.
He was with everybody. He played like 6-7 different teams, Sheffield.
But I mean, I grew up at the end of his career.
Yeah, yes, you did, Nate. That is true.
So I mean,
Nick knew when he was in high school.
Yeah, man, we went to school together, bro. Me and we was like this.
Be a chef? Oh yeah,
man. It was like milk and cornflakes.
Bro, you and Gary Sheffield went to the same high school?
No, I'm just messing around.
I'm like
who got him for
But here's a quote from. I'm going to quote this from Gary Sheffield Jr.
Okay, go ahead.
Interesting that Stephen A. Smith can say whatever he wants, but Rachel Nichols said something inappropriate in private, and they put her on the sidelines.
You know what's funny about that? Since you brought it up, and again, I don't know. Since you brought it up, tell me that anybody else in Rachel Nichols' position would not have said that. Right. And think about it. This is a woman fighting for her position, right? She's being honest. Like, hey, I understand you want to be diverse, but shit, don't take my job. I'm working hard here to do what, I like Rachel Nichols. I think she does a phenomenal job. And again, whether her expressing that was the right thing to do or not, that's an honest thought. She's like, hey, I understand what you're trying to do, and you want to be more diverse, and you should be, but not at my expense. What did I do? Not at my expense. What did I do? Why do I deserve to have my spots taken away because you want to all of a sudden you want to be more diverse? I'm just saying. I'm not saying, again, Rachel could have said it differently. Could have maybe made it more private. Talk to management themselves. And Mike Golick Sr. had the right thing here. He said, this is ESPN's fault for letting that fester.
Exactly.
The minute Rachel Nichols' statement came out, you get both of those ladies in the room, you sit down, and you hash it out and say, hey, get, blah, 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 and be done with it. No, they let that shit, they let it linger, and look what happened.
You ain't got to apologize.
And it's, now you've got this huge story, and Rachel Nichols looks like she doesn't, let's be honest, now she doesn't look like she likes her black colleagues. And that's not really what she was saying.
No, it wasn't.
But that's going to be the visual.
Do it somewhere else.
Right. The thing going forward, though, is that, Rachel Nichols doesn't like her black colleagues.
Because that's
the narrative, right?
Which is totally untrue.
Which is crap.
Totally untrue.
But that's what it's going to be because Rachel said something and somebody caught it. You know what I mean? And
but I like how, who was it? Kendrick Perkins, who came immediately, and he said, look, I respect you. I've worked with you. I think the way that you handled it was proper. You owned up to it. You were accountable.
Right.
I like that. Hopefully, and he said, hopefully we can work this out.
Right.
In a good way in the future. And he kind of left it where he's not sitting here saying, I side with you or I side with you. but he's
Right.
saying, I know your qualification, I know you're good,
Right.
but let's figure out how to figure this thing out.
And that's
But
the thing.
That was right thing
I
to
feel
say.
like ESPN did that because of a couple of things. I believe Maria Taylor's contract with ESPN ends this year.
Mhm.
And I think ESPN is looking at it like, well, we cannot let her walk. So let's try to get her to stay because, again, I just want to point this out. Stephen A. makes $12 million annually. He makes more than any NBA head coach, any NCAA head coach, and anyone on the back-to-back NHL champions, Tampa Bay Lightning.
Right. Sure.
And
All
again,
to give his opinion on sports.
Exactly. But I feel
That's
like
what he does.
ESPN did it in the wrong. I understand what ESPN was trying to do, but
I'll do it for 100,000. Give it to me.
exactly.
You ain't even got to pay me $1 million.
Come
Give me
on now.
100,000. Let's do
Come on.
this.
But I mean, their heart was in the right place, but their mind wasn't. I'll put it like that.
Well,
And-
yeah. And
a
again,
lot of times when you the same situation. A lot of times, like with the Stephen A. Smith thing, you see how you cut it when there was a rebuttal. It was coming right after. A lot of times when we've all been in this situation where we've been in the heat of saying something, we're getting it, we're trying to get something out, and then we just blurt out something that may
think
not
about
be
it.
where we want to.
even
Right.
Max was saying, he's like, well, speaking English would help. Well, when you cut that clip, if you listen to that, Max Kellerman says, well, speaking English would help. That's what he said. So
Right,
you
he
can't
did.
tell me, you know what I'm saying? So that's
Actually,
a sentiment that obviously was there, and they're thinking the same thing.
Same thing.
But again, Stephen A. said it, so and that's
and
Stephen A.
actually,
Smith. So
we'll play we could play the whole clip of that part. Let me just find it real quick.
well, I'm just saying, it's just I found it interesting that Max's next comment when Stephen A. finished that small rant was, well, speaking English would be good.
Right.
So again, we all, and that's the thing. We're all different people. We all have different experiences. We all grew up differently. We all think differently. Now, again, I may not agree with everything Sean says when we talk on our show, or Nate, when you've come on the show, or I've talked to you about
Let's
other
talk
things.
football, the round table.
Right. Let's talk football, the round table. But I mean, we don't always agree, but that doesn't mean that I'm not listening or that I don't hear what Sean says and I don't take
For
that,
sure.
you have to be able to do that. Like when you work with people, you have to be able to separate, certain things.
Right.
Like I don't think like you do. You don't think like I do. That's
We
never
can be
going to
diverse.
happen.
We can be diverse in thinking. This,
Yeah.
I don't understand where this
That's the whole
like-minded.
thing. I ain't got to like you to
I
work
kinda-
with you. Let's be honest. I don't have to like
Right.
you.
I
And us
honestly,
being opposite is actually helps because then now we're getting different
Yeah,
perceptions.
different perspective on something, man. And I might learn something. You might learn something from me. I might learn something from you. I mean,
Exactly.
come on.
but also too, I kind of blame this cancel culture, where unfortunately, where we gotta. Actually, they did it with Mike Vick. They did it with Ray Rice, where they consistently remind and say, "Well, if you don't agree with what we're saying, prepare to suffer the consequences." And
Well, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm a little more sensitive on that Ray Rice thing, man. You don't beat your wife in love. I don't care who started nothing.
You and I are totally in the same boat. But I'm
Just saying, Ray Rice was a little different, and the NFL handled that horribly.
Yes, that
For
is
the
true.
record.
Oh yeah.
For the
They
record.
definitely did.
But I'm going to play the
Oh,
clip. I'm going
right.
to play the quick clip, and then we'll get back into the conversation.
Okay.
The full court clip
Sorry,
of,
I didn't mean to sidetrack us.
No, you're
Understand
fine.
that baseball
You
is
don't
an
apologize.
international sport itself in terms of participation. But when you talk about an audience gravitating to the tube or to the ballpark to actually watch you, okay, I don't think it helps that the number one face is a dude that needs an interpreter so you can understand what the hell he's saying in this country. And that's what I'm trying to say.
Speaking English would be very helpful.
Like basketball, you notice, Dirk Nowitzki was German, and Manu Ginobili and others were from other places. And guess what, Max? They spoke fluent English. You understood
Right.
what they were saying.
Yeah, see, like,
But see, that's the thing, though. That's the point. He's saying, and I think he actually, the more I listen to that now, and the more that I see the response, the more I kind of see he kind of got out what he was trying to say.
Yeah.
He's saying, look, And you said about you were talking about how the MLB has had a problem for years marketing.
For
You know
sure,
why?
they have.
People think of the MLB as a 1950s all-white league that let Jackie Robinson in. Ooh, we gave them something.
Right.
Well, yeah, right. But that's what it is. Unfortunately, even with Tiger Woods doing everything he's doing and Vijay Singh and all the other, maybe African American golfers, golf is still looked at as a white sport. That's how MLB is. So he's saying that audience that's coming to see an MLB game, who is it? Predominantly, it's white people. They're going to see games. Now, I'm not saying that's everything. The Latino and the Black community definitely come to watch baseball games. I'm saying, but when you think about going out to take me out to the, hot dog, popcorn,
apple pie, right? Blah, blah.
Exactly. It's
All
America.
American,
It's just as American. And he's saying that audience, and I'm educated guess. He's alluding to that audience that's coming does not want to see a guy that can't sing their national anthem, much less talk without an interpreter there. He talked about Dirk. He talked about Yumano. He talked about all those guys that were fluent in English. We talked about Tanaka and Suzuki, who can speak the language.
Right.
Everything is about optics. I've always found that true. Everything's about optics. And like I said, when I was talking, and we just said it casually, when I saw him interview Ohtani, and Ohtani had the interpreter.
The interpreter's there next to him.
It struck something in me. It literally struck something in me like, like it's just odd. I didn't think.
Can I just ask a side question? Now, Acuna and Jared can have he has an interpreter.
Mm-hmm.
Now when they ask him a question, does your mind go the same way too?
No, and I'm gonna tell you why. And that's I think the stigma of us being in the Western world as opposed to the East. You know what I mean? When I think of Acuna and I think of those guys, I think of South America, which is still another America. And unfortunately, my first thought when I see Ohtani is, wow, foreign, Japanese, Chinese, whatever, all that. And that my immediately goes to, okay, I get that. But you're absolutely right. I've seen, there's a lot of Dominican and El Salvador Latin players that have to have that interpreter. But I don't know why tonight, maybe it was All-Star game, maybe because he was the star attraction. It just struck me. And that his comment, however outlandish it was, it makes sense to me. It makes sense. It's not right. But Nate, I think, and I completely get your argument and I agree with it, but I also think you're coming from the perspective of a perfect world. If things were perfect, then yes, that wouldn't be something there should be nothing by the credo of this country. There should be nothing that should hold any person from any other culture from coming here and succeeding in our
pursuing their dream and all that. Yeah.
Right. That's the whole idea.
This country was founded on immigrants. Come on.
Exactly. And I get his point. It's not right, but I get what he's saying. That's my own thing.
I think we were all in agreement. We understood, but his thought process, the way he said it, it was a poor example.
That's all.
That was it.
If he would, and again, he did the right thing. Whether you thought his apology was genuine or not, he did the right thing. He went on camera. He said, "Hey, man, I screwed up. I admit that. I take full responsibility for that. I said what I said." Bam. And that's what you do. Because there's nothing else you can do. There's nothing really. People are still going to be mad at him. People are still going to, probably crucify him for the comment, and that's fine. But he said what he said, and then he apologized for it. And everybody, again, the people who want to move on will, and the people who won't.
Yep.
And it'll play out in the media for another week or so probably, and then it'll probably die down like most other things.
Right.
And I like this point. Did you see that point? I like this point on the on the swag thing because that is more marketable. Acuna is cool to a lot of young kids.
Oh, well, that is a big part of it.
That is a huge thing.
With the big chains, they wear the big chains. They got the shirt open, jersey's open. You see the chains, the whole thing, wristbands. They got the gloves, the whole thing, the look, the hair even.
The Miami Marlins don't like them.
Got the whole thing, man. Like you know, it's like,
or the lack thereof.
well,
or
hey,
the
bro.
lack thereof.
Well, I cut it off a little bit ago too, so there you go. There.
Well, I want to cut mine off soon, so.
Well, you don't have less hair than Nate and I do, but all right.
Yeah.
But I got to shout out again. I got to shout out Russ Goodacre.
Turn it around so you can see that.
Right.
First place White Sox. Thank you very much. Okay.
I got to give Russell Goodacre a shout out again. Quote: "It's all about clickbait and reaction wise. Look at the Lamar Jackson take from PFT, where they said he shouldn't be doing drills with youth in his hometown. LOL. Like damn."
Yeah, see Lamar Jackson. You know,
Right?
like when you let that guy get you for about a month, Nate, about Lamar Jackson. What was his name?
Yeah, Bucky Brooks, baby.
Bucky Brooks. Just like that. Click. You got caught in the clickbait, Nate. Don't fall for that, bro. You're better than that. We know that. Don't fall for that, bro. Lamar Jackson is awesome. I look for Baltimore to have a great year. Come on.
No, I mean,
Let's do this.
Nate predicted last night on the show that Baltimore is taking it to the Super Bowl.
Oh, we got Super Bowl on Baltimore, do we?
It says Super Bowl.
You like Rashad Bateman, don't you? Look at you.
Well, again, I'm
Hercules.
He fell in our lap. I really was.
I know. I wish we could have got Rashad Bateman.
That mock draft you had, where you had us getting Alex Leatherwood.
Hey, I had. Hey, the other one had Rashad. You taking Rashad Bateman? Look where you ended up.
Yeah.
I understood why you said that because you were anticipating the trade.
And an offensive line help is what you desperately needed. So
yes, well, we got it. But
you did get it, so they're good. That's what I said. Good for Baltimore, man. I'm not hating. Baltimore is good. I like Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Sean said it, with the Ravens. So
and there it is. There it
guarantee.
is. I guarantee. Justin Wilson's back. I guarantee.
But again, like I think he started a conversation. I applaud. He did this morning on First Take. He did apologize to anyone that he offended in the Asian American communities. But you got to get educated, and you got to understand that. I just look at it like this: every player is marketable in some way, shape, or form. Like.
They're all professionals.
And they're all exactly.
They're all good enough to play the sport professionally.
Exactly.
But some are more marketable than others.
Yeah, of course. But you could, like you said, you can market a professional
right now.
Well, the Baltimore, yeah. No, well,
yeah. That's our squad. So we can say
besides John Means, everybody else is
right. Now Mancini is most definitely marketable.
Well, you got a story.
Run guy, right?
Mancini benefited from having a great home run derby now.
Right.
Yes.
So now you're going to know the name Trey Mancini.
Right.
You're going to go, oh, that's the dude in the home run derby that had the cancer and he fought back and then, almost beat Alonso. And then, now you're going to know who Mancini is.
Right.
Yeah. But I wanted to play this. I wanted to play this last bit.
Oh.
I did talk about this a few videos ago. Charles Barkley said he's retiring in 2 years.
That's terrible.
No, yeah, that's just terrible. You know what that is? You know what it is, Ernie? That's terrible.
He did say
he's a knucklehead.
Kind of alluded to it in a radio interview. It was in a DC radio interview with Grant and Danny. I don't know the radio station he was on, but I'll just let you play it and let me know what y'all think.
Imagine you guys doing a show every day, how crazy it is for you. Like, it's gotten so out of hand right now. I couldn't imagine having to watch myself. You can't even have fun nowadays without these jackasses trying to get you canceled and things like that. Especially you being a comedian. Yeah. But still, just having fun, talking about sports. Like, listen, I'm trying to hang on for another couple of years till I'm 60, and then they can kiss my ass because I'm only working to 60. I've already told them that. I said, man, I'm not working till the day I die. That's just stupid. And if I don't have enough money by now, I'm an idiot anyway, so they should fire me anyway. But that's all we ever talk about behind the scenes now. Like, man, be careful going in this direction. I'm like, man, we can't even have fun anymore. We've had fun all these years, and now all of a sudden in the last year and a half, everybody's trying to get everybody fired, and it really sucks. So I can't imagine you guys like every day like.
So yeah, that was him on Granted Danny's radio show in DC. I cannot think of the radio station top of my head, but he kind of unfortunately alluded to the point. You know, I think again we're in a society. I think people will call it, will call for Stephen A. Smith's job. Some people actually felt like he should have been suspended for those comments.
Please.
But, again, I understand what he was saying. When I look back at the quote, I mean, that point where he was saying, I understood it, but was not a good example to use. Because again, Major League, we can go back historically. Roberto Clemente, there's so many examples I can throw at y'all that
he gave one.
I'm just saying he's just one of many examples
of what though. I'm trying to get your point here.
Of guys that played that played the game of baseball and were marketable regardless where they come from.
Well, he also was a great humanitarian, Mr. Clemente.
Yes,
because unfortunately how he died also was being a great humanitarian. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people knew Clemente because he was a great ball player and a great human. Right. So he had that outside notoriety as being the guy who helped people.
Right.
Yeah. But I think that swag came into play with him. You know what I mean? He was quiet, but he dominated. He was you knew he was the El Capitan. He was gonna take care of business.
That's right.
You know, I don't know. I don't know what it is against maybe it's the fact that we just came out of a pandemic and our whole minds have been forced to think either for or against China, for or against our Asian allies and this and that.
I don't know.
I don't know what it is, but it's just something different about our South American brothers and sisters as opposed to our East Asian brothers and sisters. I just think there's something that just makes it just. I feel terrible saying that. If I'm offending anybody, I apologize. But I just think it's something. It's just something different. Because again, Acuna, Clemente, Pedro Martinez, any of these guys.
Right.
Big Papi, they might not speak a language, but I don't know. Maybe I look at them as our like little brothers and sisters of South America. So I don't think of them.
So like with Ichiro Suzuki, Kurt Suzuki, Hideki Matsui, like
they all came and spoke English. They all came in.
Hideki Matsui is the ugliest man I've ever seen in person. Just for the
record. You saw him in person?
Yes, he was the ugliest dude I've ever seen in person. I'm sorry.
Don't do that. Y'all gonna get.
I'm just playing. I know.
But no,
you know what I mean? No, I just said that, and I could have offended an entire Asian nation. And if I was on ESPN, I'd be called into a meeting right now.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, right? I mean, this is what I'm talking about.
Asian nations, if he offends you, do not worry. He will be off Let's Talk Football, the roundtable. Yeah. We will not stand for that Asian hate.
I said that in a joking manner. I do apologize if anyone was offended by what I just said. I don't know Hideki Matsui. I saw him in person and just was not a very pleasant looking man. That's all I'm saying. It had nothing to do with him being Asian. He was just ugly.
That's to the point. And that's what I think Charles Barkley was trying to say. Yeah. Is that now it's getting to the point where even just saying that you can't say anything. No, and see, that's the thing. I agree that it was maybe wrong and maybe a little tasteless, a little tacky for him to say that. But there does ring a little bit of truth to it.
Absolutely.
The reason why stereotypes are so off is because sometimes there's a little ring of truth to it. Maybe it's the area that it's from, or maybe
that's how they became stereotypes in the first place. Because some of that stuff does ring. Like, be. I mean, again, guys, we're all minorities here. You are two black gentlemen. I'm a Latino gentleman. Okay, and even in our neighborhoods or places where we grew up, right? Who did you like, pick on you picked on your race. Black guys would make fun of other black guys. Puerto Rican, we'd make fun of other Puerto Rican guys or Spanish guys, Mexican guys, whatever. It's just a thing. It's a culture between us. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it just bleeds into everything that we do. Mm-hmm. And because we are people, I mean, you guys are people of color. I don't know for sure if I'm considered a person of color. I don't know how that extends. No, I'm saying like I'm saying in some circles. No, you know what I'm saying? Like, because think about it.
I understand what you're saying.
Right. In some circles, I'm not necessarily like the thing. You're not a person of color. What are you talking about? You're Latino. You were born in America. You're an American. Well, that's true. My family lineage is Puerto Rican, Mexican, and Italian, but I was born here. I don't speak, and I don't speak Spanish. And a lot of people do look down on me for that because I get it all the time. I work in retail and I get people like, hey, speaking Spanish? No, I don't. Sorry. And they look at me like I just killed their cat. Like, and it's like, well, I'm sorry. I was born in America. And in 1976, when I was growing up, my parents didn't think it was necessary to teach me Spanish because it's not something they could have foreseen that I would need when I was 20 years old or 25 years old or whatever. Right. It's just one of those things that happen. So now here I am. And I don't speak Spanish. And again, I don't want to apologize for that and make myself feel less because I didn't learn a language that I never knew I would have to speak. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the way the world is. So that's all I'm saying. As like, you can't foresee some of this stuff sometimes. And these things happen. And it's how you deal with it and how you relate to people and how, that's why, man, for me, and I know we're getting way off the subject, so I apologize.
Yeah, Dick, bring us back, man.
This is why I always tell you, for you gentlemen especially, because I respect the hell out of what you guys are doing, because you both have you both started these stuff on your own. You both have your own shows. You both started this because you were passionate about talking about sports, about talking about these things and talking about issues that are relate to the both of you. And somehow I got lumped into this, so I'm happy for that. I truly appreciate both you guys. I want you to know that.
Thank you.
And I think that's very important to say because, again, the three of us can go all night and talk about a myriad of things. But the fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, there's two black men and a Latino man giving their opinion on sports that in the grand scheme of the world probably means nothing to anybody else, but it means the world to us.
Yep.
So that to me, that's important. And that's exactly why I appreciate this. And that's exactly why I think it's great that we are able to do this, regardless if anybody's watching, listening, or whatever. That doesn't matter.
Right.
The fact that the three of us are on here doing our thing and being able to do this that's the victory right there.
For sure.
I'm with it.
Hey, I'm with it. But
sorry, it took me a long time to get there. My apologies.
No, you're totally fine, Nick.
I'm long-winded sometimes.
But it's quite all right. But again, like, I think this was a good conversation that needed to be had, particularly because, again, we can it's all about one, like you said, it was all about optics, Sean, and it's all about Nick said reaction. I'm going to bring up a quick example. It was a few years ago when Jeremy Lin was in the NBA when he played for the Brooklyn Nets. And Kenyon Martin had made a comment, at the time Jeremy Lin had dreadlocks. And, Kenyon Martin said some things that went, because I have it right here, like, quote, do I need to remind this damn boy that his last name is Lin? Like, come on, man. Let's stop this, man. With these people, man, there's no possible way he would have made it on one of our teams with that bullshit going on in his head. Come on, somebody to tell him, like, all right, bro, we get it. You want to be black? Like, we get it. But last name is Lynn. See, like that. And unfortunately, Kenyon Martin, he got some backlash for it. See, it's things like that we have to be careful of because, again, unfortunately, we had a president that made it very okay to be a bigot, racist, etc., particularly towards, not just Black America, but Asian America and our Asian brothers and sisters across over other side of the Atlantic. Those type of things. And again, it goes back to my point. The media controls the narrative. And, Nick, if you do not mind me, I know, Sean, you brought it up, but Nick, if you can bring up that Jerry Springer line, that is a perfect way to end Big Nick Talk episode 13. I would really appreciate it if you could use that Jerry Springer line for us.
Certainly. Be kind to yourselves and each other. That's it.
Absolutely. Again, I got to thank y'all for coming on here tonight.
Thanks for having us. My pleasure,
Definitely.
man.
Again, this was a really great show. Really, these type of conversations, again, it's like having at the dinner table. It's important to talk about it, because if we don't talk about it, how do we grow as a society? How do we grow as a culture? How do we grow as a global community?
Right.
And guys like Stephen A. and those that let this learn and grow from this, and also too, this is a good opportunity for us to learn and educate ourselves more about different things like this. I mean, regardless of who speaks language, Shohei Ohtani is an All Star.
Yep.
Ichiro Suzuki is a Hall of Famer. Robert Acuna Jr. is an All Star. Don't matter where you come from.
That's it.
The most important thing is you're passionate about the game, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, soccer, don't matter. Just like, again, what happened with England losing to Italy, for those three guys to get practically disrespected.
Yeah, that was horrible.
Yeah.
That's uncool. That's not cool.
Yeah.
And it just lets me know that privilege and people don't think about the consequences when you do those type of things with your bodily harm. And then I get it. The games over there, they're real competitive. It's like the Super Bowl for them. I understand it, but like Nick said, be kind to one another. And again, man, the world. We could make the world a better place if we just all learn, grow, prosper together. And it's going to take guys like Nick Rosario, Sean Spencer, Janae Struther, Ablo, everybody on these platforms to destroy these narratives and bring togetherness, all that. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to conclude episode 13, Big Nick Talk Podcast. Be on the lookout for episode 14 tomorrow. I do apologize. I did not cover the All Star baseball game because by the time I would have covered it, these guys would have been ready for bed. So I'm going to talk about it tomorrow. Be on the lookout for the WNBA All Star game review as well. And then, like I said, we won't have anything going on for the WNBA because of the Olympics. So I'm definitely going to try to catch some of the Olympic games, talk about that. But if you guys like the topics we talked about, feel free to leave them in the comments below, man. I want to know. I want to get y'all's thoughts. And then if you have more topics that you want to talk about, if you want to come on the show, leave it in the comments below. Again, if you like the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Please like, comment, share. Get to the subscribe button along with notification bells on. With that being said, I'm out. Peace. Stay up, y'all.
Good night, y'all.
First of all, listen, it's interesting about all these young guys today. They never call on us and say, hey, thanks for the kind word and telling me how great a player I am. But when they play like crap and we call them out, we don't know what we're talking about. Listen, I'm easy to find, but I get sick of these guys complaining. These young guys, they never call us and say, when a coach is wrong, I'm going to call him out. But when players are wrong, I'm going to call them out. But listen, I'm going to criticize guys if they deserve it. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.
How do you do that? How do you do that?